And we're recording. So welcome to the third part, I guess, in our prospecting series for July for our team, one big team. And I'm excited that you guys are here. So just to recap, we have been working through July and we have been talking about prospecting and specific skills that we need to use that are simple and that we can duplicate down to our downlines on our level one, so that you're not constantly feeling like you're divided between like your work and your team's work and supporting your team. You want to feel like there's an even flow for the most part. So we've been talking about those skills and focusing on the teachings of Eric Worre and GoPro. And we've been talking, I know some of you purchased that book. You can get it as an audio if you want, if it's easier for you. I prefer audio when I'm like doing the reading, but when I go back to do the training, I like to have the physical. So it just depends on sort of what kind of listener you are and how you can retain information and absorb information. Either way is great. And I think that you'll gain lots either way. So just to recap last week's training, we talked about some skills that we need. We talked about skills, all these skills being professional skills. So not people who are dabbling, not people maybe who are, who are feeling like they're sort of here and they're there and they're not really focused in what they're doing and that they're hit and miss, but really developing skills that are professional network marketing skills. So the reason we use that term is because this is indeed a wonderful profession, and it is full of incredibly diverse people from all walks of life, from all different types of educations and backgrounds. And the thing that unifies it is that if we do it right, that you're going to really be able to explode your business and be successful in the business. Everything that I'm saying to you tonight, Barb and I had a chat here at this kitchen table this afternoon. We had a great meeting and we talked about this kind of thing. And one of the things that I said to her was, each week when I get up in front of the team to do any training or when I help train anybody else's team, I always preface it by saying, like, these are teachings that other people have taught me or that I have been training on myself. None of this is stuff that I've made up or no, this is just all stuff that's duplicatable, and it's stuff that people who are top earners in network marketing, these are the things that they do. These are the things that they put into their daily method of operation and that eventually become second nature to them. The more we practice these things, we talked about building our muscle last week, the more we practice these things, the more professional and easy they become. The less we practice them and the less we push them away or we allow fear to stand in the way of practicing them, then obviously the less skilled we're going to be at implementing them, okay? So just to recap again, skill number one we talked about last week was finding prospects. We've talked an awful lot about this month and do in general. We talked skill number two, and if you didn't get to see last week's training, that's okay. Jump in afterward and go watch it. It is on the team page. Skill number two is inviting people to learn more about your prospect or opportunity. Excuse me, that didn't make sense. Inviting people to learn more about your opportunity or your product. I can't read my own writing. And number three, if I can find it, I lost my spot. Is presenting the product or presenting the opportunity yourself to someone. And then finally, we talked about follow-up at the end, okay? So we talked about those four skills as really key skills that we need to have. And we talked about what each of them means. So just to briefly recap them one more time for you, when we talk about finding prospects, we're literally talking about talking to people. Prospects are people that we would like to talk to about Plexus. If you do not have an active candidate list or a friends list or a list of 64, then you're doing that thing I mentioned earlier, which is dibble-dabbling. You're just kind of like trying to do a mental checklist of your people. That's never going to work. You have to have an active checklist, and you will find yourself actually making several of them throughout your career. They will constantly be evolving. They will constantly be changing. One of the things that is in your income producing activities checklist that's in your success kit that we talk about all the time in our team is adding to your network every single day. That doesn't have to be on social media. Sometimes we put blinders on and we put network marketing is social media, the park with my kids is the park with my kids. When you practice this skill enough, the idea of finding people for that list, when you practice it enough, it just becomes second nature. You're adding people on social media, yes, but you're like, oh, lady from the park, so-and-so's mommy from the park, or lady from the grocery store. These people all go on your list. No one doesn't go on your list. Everybody goes on the list. I mentioned this last week. If you don't like them, they still go on your list. The reason, they have a network that you can tap into as well. If it's somebody that's an older person, don't discount them. They need the products too. And guess what? They too have a network. And if it's, your great aunt Gertrude or the 18-year-old family member or friend of the family, they all matter and should be on this active list that you're working with all the time. You are never going to run out of people to talk to. That does not happen. So when people say, oh, I hit my silver and I talked to all these people and I ran out of people to talk to, you're not adding to your network then. You need to be constantly adding to your network. So you have a physical list, right? In your social media, in your Facebook and in your Instagram, Twitter, whatever you're using, you also have a list in there. That's your friends list or your following list or whatever it is, okay? You need to keep track of that list as well because that's such a great resource. In this binder right here, this is my Bible of lists. And in here, I have my Facebook friends list. I know I've showed this to many of you before, but I'm going to show it again. I have my Facebook friends list, and it literally and I just printed this one off about 4 weeks ago, and it starts with my most recent friends from 4 weeks ago, and it goes all the way back to when I joined, I was going to say Plexus, Facebook in 2007. So there's, there's a lot of pages, like a lot of pages. many, many. This is 4 pages. I got, because you can program it that way to print it that way on my printer. So I can get 4 pages of friends on one page. It tells me when they joined, when I became friends with them. And it goes all the way through here. So this is my list. I still need to work on this list because I do add to my network every single day. On your IPA sheet, it suggests 3 per day. Some days you may not be able to do 3. Some days you do 6. A word of advice on social media, do not add more than 10 friends in one day because Facebook will be on to you and you will be shut down. You will be put in Facebook jail for a couple of days where you can only post. You can't go in any groups. You can't go on our team page and any of that stuff, okay? But definitely try your best to add to your network every single day. And if you recounted all your steps in the day, you would probably find that a lot of those were in the physical world. Do not discount that physical world. It is so important. Okay, so making sure, somebody's calling me. Just a sec. Oh, give me a break. So anyway, not taking that call. So the skill number 2, the whole idea about inviting people to learn more. We talked about this a lot this month, about not being a hunter, about being a nurturer, being a farmer instead, and really working with your people. Put yourself in your prospect's shoes, offer solutions to people's problems, be a good listener. So we talked about all of that. We don't want, the professional network marketer never pitches someone. You don't think about as I'm going to go get those people today. Instead, we want to have that mindset that we want to help as many people as we can, and that we're helping each individual with an individual thing, an individual issue, problem. We're offering individual solutions to individuals, okay? So you don't want to think, okay, I got to go get my whatevers today. You just want to continually be talking to people as much as you can and building that relationship. We talked about the fact that there's nothing more powerful than a live event. So I know, Krista, you had your first Sip and See this week, and that's awesome. So you had that experience of like exposing some of your friends to that, and it's great training for us two guys to go to live events. Like, it's the best training. A lot of people make the decision to go all in with their business after attending a live training. So that could be an opportunity meeting. That could even be an online event that's full of Facebook Lives as pop-ups, or a gut glam evening if you've ever been invited to one of those. We are going to have an online event on our team very soon. But the reason that these live events work so well is the incredible stories that we hear from real people, the social proof. So the community is there where, it's not just a story. We're not just making it up, and it's easy for people to feel a part of things because Plexus people are just so happy and so excited to share with their friends. So that's very, very important. So it's just that excitement, that physical interaction, so, so important. The other tool, and I really want to focus on this tonight, is the three-way call or conversation. So I'm going to give another example. Today, there's a girl whom I know well, who I first met musically at an event somewhere. She was the director of this musical festival, and I was hired to do something there. So we met that way. And then she ended up coming to my town and works at the university here in my town. And I ended up working with her on a project last year. I invited her to the opportunity meeting tomorrow night. So there's the tool that I used. I went for that valuable tool. She responded back that she was going to try her best. Today she messaged me and said that she couldn't make it tomorrow night because she's just got a lot going on personally, and she's got this other big music festival this weekend that she has to direct in addition to her job. All really legitimate concerns, and I was really excited that she cared enough to explain it that far out to me. But the point of me telling you this is I let her know that she's where she should be, and she's too busy to go to this right now, and it wouldn't be as meaningful to her. So how about she and I would get together one-on-one and have a cup of tea or a glass of wine or whatever she wants to do. She immediately thanked me, and she said, you know what? Yeah, because I'm really truly interested because I have so many issues with my thyroid. It turned out there was a whole host of health issues that she had that I had no idea about. So what did I do? I immediately added Julie in on the conversation because Julie has experience with that. Now, I know how to talk about the thyroid, but guys, I don't need to try to be interesting. I don't need to be interesting. I need to be interested in her. And I need to show her that I'm going to go to get whatever I need to get as a tool to help her. So the third-party validation from Julie coming into the conversation was invaluable. And now she and I have an appointment for Friday morning to meet so she can try a 7-day trial of the Slim. And we're making, at that point, we're going to make our appointment for our tea or our wine or whatever we're going to have. But that third-party validation is just so important. And if you're just starting out, it is probably the most important tool because you're probably thinking, I don't know what to say to somebody when they talk about their thyroid. Like, what's that? What are the issues with thyroid, and what are our products? What do we have for products that are going to help with thyroid, and how am I supposed to know which ingredients help with thyroid? And then you can talk yourself right into a closet and not want to come out of it. Instead, you engage with your sponsor or someone else on the team who is, excited and wants to help you, and that you really can relate to, okay? Sometimes you and your sponsor are in the same boat. So maybe you just signed up under your sponsor, but your sponsor's been at it for maybe 3-4 weeks. That happens a lot. That was Julie and I, actually. So when I signed up under Julie, she just had started her business. So we basically just were bouncing things off of each other and helping each other out. But using that, bringing in that third-party expert, not only validates it for your potential. So today, my friend Marcy had a really good information, okay? And she knew she was getting it from an expert because the expert had the experience in that area. For you, okay, or for me, I glean information from that. I learn something from that I can take into the next time this happens. Because guys, the more people you talk to, the more people are going to have the same issues. They're going to keep coming up. So it is so valuable. And do not be scared to ask for help, and don't ever worry about bothering anybody, or that, that you're going to appear like you don't know what you're doing. You don't have to know everything. That's the beauty of this business. Go ahead, Julie.
Well, and I just want to jump in to reinforce, because you started to say it, but like Tanya could totally handle it. She had all that information, but the third-party validation is not only when you need that support, it's also when you don't think you need it. It's also when you don't need the information, because it shows off the community. It shows, and she got a real good taste for how Tanya and I are in this and why we're in this. It's about helping people, and, you know, and the way that we interacted with her, she got a real good glimpse into why we do what we do. And that's not always easy to portray in a conversation when it's just one-on-one. But, you know, when you have two people jumping in and saying, oh my gosh, that's what's really happening, and oh, you know, blah 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 and blah blah blah, like it, so I don't want you to think that, okay, when I get to the expertise point that I can handle all the product questions, then I'm going to outgrow the three-way chat or three-way call. Not true at all. It's always 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 valuable.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so like I said, you don't have to be interesting. You don't have, because people really want it, they need to be heard. So we need to be listening more and saying less. So say less to more people. That's a Ray Higdon line. But you just want to make sure that you are being the best listener ever. Okay. If you think about, it's kind of like parenting. In parenting, the way that you get your child to actually confide in you and to keep that line of communication open, how do you do it? You listen to them. You stop everything. You listen to them. They are the most important person in the room. And this is really the same thing. Okay. So we talked about too that, you know, these things, all these things that we have at our disposal, the three-way call, the opportunity meetings, if you would like to have a sip and see at your house, that's a beautiful way, like what Krista did this week. Tracy's planning a sip and see as well. I see she's on the call. So you want to do as many of these live types of things as possible. The 7-day challenge that's coming up August 6th, another great opportunity to get people trying the products and so on. And we know that these interactive groups, these interactive live events matter to people, okay? One thing I will tell you is the only words that are important for you to say to other people are the ones that make you feel comfortable in your own skin. Nobody can give you a script as to what to say, okay? You need to be authentic. You need to be true to the kind of words that you would use when you're reaching out to somebody about Plexus. So, you know, you can use a script to start so that it makes you more comfortable and your sponsor can provide you with something like that. To keep the conversation going, like we talked about last week, you always want to provide a different exposure to the person every time you go back and forth. So let me give you an example of that. So you reach out to your friend and you invite them to the next opportunity meeting. Well, that one we've just talked about. Let's say you want to reach out to your friend and ask them if they've ever heard of Plexus. Have you ever tried Plexus? And that's a simple question you can ask a friend. If they come back with, no, what is it? The last thing you want to do is throw up Plexus on them. And I know we've talked about this ad nauseum on our team. But what I mean by that is, remember, say less to more people. So you don't want to say everything at once. You can phrase this next part however you want. But if you give a stock answer, it's going to sound stock coming from you, even though it's not your human voice yet, maybe if you're messaging, okay? So you might want to say something along the lines of, they're wonderful products that are making me feel crazy, amazing. I would love to share them with you. What are your health goals? Something as simple as that. You've asked a question at the end to keep the conversation going. Your next step after that, whatever their health goals are, is that you can either go back to your sponsor and ask for help, or you can start sending them some shareables as a gateway to keep that conversation going. Once you've gone back 3 or 4 times, that's when you want to engage in the 3-way call with your sponsor or with your friend. Okay? Very important. If you want to send the message to your sponsor first, to ask them what their an opinion on it, go for it. I do that all day long, help people with their messages, or just let them know, you know what, that's an awesome message. Because most often when people send me their messages, I say, that's really awesome, good job. Because most of the time you just need a little bit of confidence to push that go button on the message, okay? Ultimately though, you want to get in front of people. So it doesn't matter what that means. It could mean, you know, a 3-way call, chat, video, whatever. And it could mean also the live meeting. Okay. So let's move on. Skill number 3, presenting the product or the opportunity. That's the tool part. I guess I already kind of just talked about that. So that's sending tools to your person, asking them questions like, so they come back with their health goal is, I would like to lose weight. Wow, that's a great goal, Sally. And we have great products for that. Would you, if I sent you a quick video, would you have some time to watch it? And Sally's going to say, sure, probably. People rarely say no. And you say, great, listen, I'm going to send it to you, and then make that next appointment, or you may lose Sally. So you ask Sally, say, so if I send it to you, will you have some time to watch it? And Sally's going to say yes or no. Yes, probably. And then you're going to say, awesome. So it's a really quick video. When do you think you might have time to watch it? And Sally's going to say, tomorrow morning, I'm going to have some time when the kids are doing XYZ. And you can say, awesome, Sally. So you're saying then that you could watch it tomorrow morning. She's going to say yes. And you're going to say, awesome. I'll contact you tomorrow afternoon, and we can chat further about what your best takeaways were from the video. Okay. So you've made the appointment and you've confirmed it twice with Sally by asking her when she could watch it. Yes, she could watch it. Then if you check back with her in the afternoon, she will have watched it. And then you make sure you go to your phone and you set a reminder in your phone that says, hey Siri, or you can just do a voice dictate or whatever you need to do on the type of phone that you have, and say, well, please remind me to call Sally at 1 tomorrow, or message Sally at 1 tomorrow. Okay. So we talked about that last week, and that is very simple to do. It's very duplicatable, and you're going to send Sally the slim video out of your back office. That's it. Use the tools. That's duplicatable. You don't have to be the expert on everything. And again, don't try to be interesting. You are already. Sally wouldn't be engaged with you if you weren't. So don't try to be the expert on everything. Let the tools do the work. You're like a consultant for those tools. Allow that process to happen. You're going to feel like you're going to be on fire. You're going to be able to do work with multiple prospects at once. You're not going to feel like you're being pushy, because you're confirming appointments with people. So when you go back to Sally the next day, Sally, what was your best takeaway from that video? And she's going to say, wow, I didn't realize that, or maybe she might say, I didn't realize that there was a gut health piece to this. Wow, that's kind of cool. And so then you can have a conversation about that and say, listen, you know what? I really think this would be a great product for you. Are you ready to talk about purchasing the product? Or you could even start talking about more products at that time. It's when the conversation starts to feel, when you get back that 3 or 4 or 5 back and forth, that's when you need to engage your sponsor if you don't see the green light to close the sale. It's very important. Your sponsor can help you close the sale very quickly on the 3-way call. Okay. All right. And then follow up. Following up is doing what you said you'd do. Follow up with Sally on Tuesday at 1 or whatever we had said there. Keep that calendar very important. Do not ever miss a follow-up. Don't ever be late. Be early. Be early so you can be on time. And the only reason that we send people tools is so we can have that next part of the conversation. So those are called exposures, and we want those exposures to continue to happen. Remember, again, we're not hunting on and don't expect people to join you on the first exposure. It is so crazy rare. It happens 1 in 100, maybe not even. I'm making that up. Rarely will somebody send me a message and say, well, rarely, really rarely, I want to do that slim. Can I sign up for that slim? How do I do that? That's really rare. Okay. So you need to understand and not be upset when it doesn't happen right away for you. Okay. So we want to remember that we don't want to be attached emotionally at all to the outcome. It's okay if they ignore you at first. It's okay if they don't answer you right away. Sometimes people have real reasons. I have a real reason that I didn't answer the phone. I'm on training right now. Right? So people have real reasons that they don't answer you. Be yourself and be your best self when you're posturing in front of people. Bring your passion, your excitement. Remember, I talked about being authentic earlier. Be yourself. Be passionate. When I'm not feeling it, that's not probably a really good time for me to prospect people about the business and to try to be excited. Maybe I've had a bad day. Maybe I'm exhausted. Maybe I was up all night with my kids. Maybe I need to double prospect the next day. If you're not feeling it, then And if you're not feeling it every day, then you need to talk to your sponsor about that. But if you're not feeling it in the moment, wait till another moment, okay? Because that's really, really important. And have strong posture, be bold and be confident and be yourself. We've talked an awful lot about that in the last 7 days. I've been posting about that on our team page. I said, be yourself, be the best version of yourself. Be yourself, be the most confident version of yourself, and be yourself, be the boldest version of yourself. Very important. People feel it when you're talking to them, and they respond to it. They appreciate it, okay? I talked about, looking for the green light and knowing when it's appropriate to close with somebody. Let's say you don't engage in a three-way call. Sarah, go to bed. Okay, go quick. Sorry, guys. Let's say you have not engaged in a three-way call for whatever reason, and you've gone back that 3 and 4 and 5 back and forth exposures with the person, and all of a sudden you're like, this is really stagnating. I really want to handle this on my own. Let's say you were in that position. This is what I would suggest that you do. You need to figure out what's holding them back. Sometimes people will tell you, which is awesome. Objections are amazing because they tell you that there are some flashing lights for this person, okay? And then you can help them get over those objections. Again, go back to your sponsor and find out how, okay? Or do some training, watch some videos. You'll get really good at overcoming objections over time. But what I'm going to suggest you do is actually ask the person to rate where they are with their decision. So listen, Sally, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being great and 1 being weak, or 10 being strong and 1 being weak, where are you with your decision on purchasing or on joining or whatever it is? And if Sally says she's at a 5, that's great. She just needs more time and more information. So you say, that's wonderful, Sally. So let's talk about what else I can do to help you. And that might mean that's the pivot point to the three-way call. Okay, that might also mean that you just need to send them the slim document, okay? But it's important to get that feedback. If they say 1, then you need to go back to the drawing board and you need a three-way call. If they say 8, then you say, you know what, it sounds like you're ready. Would you like to proceed? Okay, the word ready is a really good word. Interested, not so much. So when you're asking people, are you interested? It's a kind of a negative question. Are you ready? Is a great question, okay? Have patience. So important in follow-up. Have patience. Don't assume that the person doesn't want your products or opportunity. They're just not ready yet. Some people don't, and that's fine. But some people just aren't ready, okay? We also talked about condensing the exposures so that you do this quickly. So there's an opportunity meeting on Wednesday. On Thursday, you're sending tools. And on Friday, you've made the coffee date to do the sign up. That's a condensed exposure. Those are the best kind if you want to build fast, okay? And you guys can all do that. A condensed exposure could also be opportunity meeting, three-way call, sign up, okay? But notice that there's tools there for you. You're never alone. There's always help, okay? Skill number 5, and this is new for tonight, so I did a lot of review because it's important, okay? Skill number 5 is moving your prospect to either being a customer or to joining your team, okay? I'm gonna say this again. Ask questions, be interested. Don't worry about being interesting, okay? Because it's not about you, it's all about them. Right? So you're going to want to, I mentioned this earlier, emotionally detach from the outcome no matter what. Our job, think of yourself again as a consultant. You are there to educate and you are to provide understanding of our products and our opportunity. That's what you're there to do. And remember, you do not have to be the expert on all of that. That's why we have our tools, okay? I mentioned the word assumptive earlier. Do not assume that they don't want your products, that they don't want your opportunity. Assume they do. Assume that they do. Assume they're going to join your team when you prospect them. You're going to be the boldest version of yourself, the most confident version of yourself, and the strongest version of yourself if you're assumptive. If you believe it, it's going to happen much faster because you're going to posture yourself with so much strength that people are going to want to listen to what you have to say, and they're going to want to engage with you, okay? The other thing that often we don't normally talk about this, but I'm going to right now, is, you know, when we're talking to people, we forget to say, and guess what? You get me. You don't get me to run your business for you. You get me because I'm really great to do this with, and I'm going up, and I really think we could do this together. You get me, okay, as your partner. That's very important, okay? When you're going through this process, you always want to be prepared. Prepared just means you are keeping on the calendar so that you're keeping up with those exposures and those follow-ups. It means that you know how to sign somebody up, okay? And if you don't, I put a video on our team page today on how to sign somebody up, okay? You want to make sure that you know where your shareables are, how to access your virtual office, how to find them, how to share them, how to send them effectively, and all of the above. Those are the ways that you can always be prepared and ready to sign people up just like that, okay? Remember to ask questions and listen. We are consultants. We're literally putting people where their interest lies and what's going to be a good fit for them. That's what consultants do, okay? Now I'm going to give you a powerful tool which works really well. I didn't realize that somebody had actually prospected me this way before. It was for an affiliate marketing company that I do a little bit of work with, and they had asked me some questions when they were prospecting me to do the next level, and I didn't even know at the time. And when I was reading this book, I went, oh my gosh, they totally Eric worried me and I didn't even know it. Okay, so these are the 4 questions. So when you're asking, and this is all about somebody who's going to join your team, okay? So if somebody wants to join your team, and or maybe they're not sure if this is going to be a good fit, you've looked at the compensation plan, maybe not. Maybe you're in preliminary discussions with them, they're just a little bit curious, doesn't matter. You're going to qualify them. And we've talked about this a fair amount in the last little while. Julie did a training on this a couple weeks ago about making sure that we're qualifying people. So let's talk about that in 2 different ways. One way is you want to make sure that all customers who join your team understand that a preferred customer has an auto ship. Super important. Letting them know that, you know what, our auto ship is very easy to delete, amend, change the date, add products, delete products, whatever, okay? Very, very important. It's also important that we're only putting ambassadors on our team who qualify with 100 PV and have committed to doing that for a minimum of 3 months, okay? So 100 PV looks like this. It could be Joyome and another product, or it could be Slim, or like a balance pack. Any combo that has Slim in it is going to be 100 PV. But you want to make sure that it's a minimum of 3 products with with one of them being the Slim, and you can also factor in the Joyome in there, okay? That is very, very important. If they are not, they are a customer, period. Do not sign people up as ambassadors with a bag of Slim, or do not sign people up who are like, well, I'm just going to try it for a month. No, because they've not committed, okay? Doesn't matter if they want to do the business or not do the business. Do not do it, okay? So that's one side of qualifying. The side I'm talking about is the whole doing the business piece, okay? This is going to help people make the decision so that when they join you, they're going to know exactly what they're getting into, okay? So you're having the conversation. So you say, based upon what we just talked about and what you know so far, how much would you want to make per month for this to be worthwhile for you? So that's question number 1. Question number 2, how many hours could you invest to create that kind of income? So how much time are you willing to invest to create that kind of income? Question number 3, for how many months do you think that you would need to work that many hours to earn that kind of income from question number 1? And finally, question number 4, if I could show you how to earn the income that you'd like to earn from number one, working the amount of hours that you've said that you'd like to work, in as many months as you think it would take to get there. Would you be interested? Normally people will say yes. Okay. And it's at that point that you go into the three-way call. Very important. And if you're not comfortable doing those questions because you're new, then go into the three-way call before that ever happens, and your sponsor will take you through those questions. Very important. Most people have very realistic expectations. They want to earn $200, $500, and they're not expecting it to happen like tomorrow. Okay. Most people know that they're going to have to build a business to grow, an empire. You'll have the rare person who will come on and say, I want to earn, $1,000 a month, and I want to work 2 hours a day, and I want it to happen this month. Most people know that's probably not going to happen, although it certainly can. Okay. But probably not at 2 hours a day. Probably not. Those closing questions will help so much. And if you get answers like, I don't think that's for me. Like I need to earn more money than that, faster than that. And you say, you know what, I totally get that. Then this is not a good fit for you right now. It's just not realistic to think you're going to make $10,000 a month working 2 hours a day in 4 months. It's just not going to happen. And some people really do feel that way because they look at, industry professionals who are at the top of the companies, and they think, they're going to get there in 5 minutes. Well, those professionals, most of them didn't get there in 5 minutes, I don't think. So those questions will help you direct them. And that's when you pivot to the next thing. We talked about this last week, pivot to the products. Okay. And then when you get to the products, you follow the same thing. The number of exposures, setting up the next exposure, the tools, the three-way call. Okay. If you get to the end of that and people are like, you know what, I'm really not interested. You're going to pivot to the referral, and you're going to say, you know what, totally get it. It's just not for you right now. But I bet you have people in your network or friends and family who really need these products based on what we've talked about, who really need this opportunity based on what we've talked about. It would mean so much to me if you would consider referring those people to me. And then you say, can't wait to see you at the soccer field next week. Have a great night. Okay? And that literally will change everything if you're able to implement some of these tools. Now, I'd like to talk about one other thing. What time is it? Okay. I wanted to talk about one other thing tonight. I've given you a lot of information. Most of it was review from last week and the rest of the month. But one of the things that I really want to talk about, because I think it is the thing that no matter what the tools are that we have available to us, no matter what kind of fancy, glittery things we have, if we're not using them and we're not doing the daily required stuff, what is going to happen is that our business is going to stagnate. We are going to become, we're going to be stopped and stuck. Okay. And if you go to YouTube and you search how to get unstuck in my Plexus business or something like that, you're going to find lots of videos. Okay. Because this is a real issue, because this business, despite everything I just said to you and all my lovely notes here that I can't seem to read, doesn't matter, because what you say to yourself matters. That's why I'm going to continue to say to you, be yourself, be the boldest you can be of yourself, the boldest version of yourself. Be yourself, be the strongest version of yourself. Be yourself, be the most confident version of yourself. You need to talk to yourself that way. You need to be ready. Listen to pumped up music if that's what it takes before you prospect. Go for a big run and be, and then prospect. But you need to really, really talk to yourself and let yourself know that it's okay to make mistakes, that you're not going to say everything perfect. And you know what? The first two doesn't matter. And I want to tell you something else. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. People buy you. They're not buying Plexus. Well, they are buying Plexus, but they're buying you. They trust you. You have been those versions of yourself. They have seen you doing this. consistently. They've seen you posting consistently. They know that you're feeling good because of the way you posture yourself. You are being bold when you talk to people. People are going to want to buy you. That's how this works. When Julie contacted me in 2016 and we started talking about plexus, because it was Julie, I listened to her. I had seen other people posting on social media about plexus. I don't know what I thought it was. I think it was something in the universe somewhere. I don't know exactly what I thought it was. But I didn't even bother to find out. I just would scroll. So it matters. You know this on this call because you connected with somebody. So it told him, somebody you trusted. So it matters. So there's my big soapbox spiel tonight. And I really would love some feedback. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about where you are with your business. Let's talk about how you're feeling about stuff. Let's just get it out there. I think it's super important. Shalom. Hi, Ken.
I find for me what I find for me, I get going really strong and I'm making connections and I do my follow-ups. But I don't know if it's like my wife and I, Barb, talked about it. Maybe it's something I said or what I'm saying or how I'm ending. But she's like, I just like go, like balloon breaks, done. Like I don't hear anything back from them or they say I'm not interested or like that's it. And I keep following up and no response, follow up, no response. They'll respond to me on not about plexus, but other stuff they may see on my post. They, I like and I see them online and I'll do a follow up right there because I'll see the little green ball, no response. Because something I said or something I'm doing, my words I'm using, or like you said, maybe my posture, it just shuts it down. I guess that's where I find myself. There, I spoke.
Go ahead, Angie.
I find my unmute button. Can I make a suggestion? Just something that I've noticed in myself, because, and I don't know if you do this, Kent, or not. Sometimes people, like if when you're talking to them, it's all plexus, they are done. Like they're like, well, he's only talking to me because he wants to sell me product. He doesn't ask me how the day's going. He doesn't say, hey, saw you went on vacation with the kids. How was that? That kind of stuff. And I find I get, sorry, everyone is here. I find I get more flies with honey, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like if I break up the plexus talk and not just throw it out there every conversation that I have with them, right? That's just my 2 cents for what it's
I have done that. Like I've not even talked about plexus at first. How's life? I see your kids are going to school or in the pool or, and they'll bring up plexus. So then we get taught. That's how we get talking.